Here we go. Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Isn't it the best day ever? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, they can hear us now, I think.
Oh, we have a big show.
Today is 8/18/2019. You missed all of our flubs to start with.
That's great.
It's really good.
I still didn't get to tell you about my finger.
Tell them about your finger.
I got attacked by a wild boar. No, he's the most docile, calm little guy you'll ever meet. But he gets some glucosamine for his knee. And I had the bread there, and I put my hand there, and he just thought my finger was in the way. And so I'm alive. I still have my finger. I was thinking about this morning. I'm just really glad to still have a finger, even though it
Poor
hurt.
Malachi. He didn't mean it.
I think once he realized that he had human flesh in his mouth, he stopped. Could have been a lot worse. It's still not awesome.
The jaws and teeth of any swine are powerful.
No, dude, I started to have a mini panic attack thinking about that, and
don't think about it.
I actually had to do something else thinking about it. So, I'm just glad I have 3 other fingers we can use today. It's fantastic.
And a whole thumb.
That's right. I don't know if I could press. I could probably but thumb. He will, and he's doing his best.
I'll tell you what I don't understand, and maybe somebody can explain it to me. When will we have a new speaker?
That's a good question.
Because I'm tired of this one.
So, Tory donors are in secret talks for election pact with Nigel Farage's Brexit party. Because everybody's kind of hinging on the fact that there will be an election. It's not for certain.
Right.
But there could be an election.
I think that Boris is walking on tiptoes right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Trying to appease the people and let them think that he's a big, for the people populist that's not an establishment, that he will fulfill all these promises, and he's doing all this stuff for the police and so on and so forth. Top
Tory donors are reportedly trying to bounce the party into an electoral pact with Nigel Farage in a bid to keep Jeremy Corbyn out of power in the event of a general election. The behind-the-scenes stitch-up would see the party not stand candidates against the Brexit party in dozens of seats in a snap election. It would mean that the party would let candidates from the insurgent Brexit party stand without a Tory opponent against some candidates in return for giving Tory Brexiteers an easier ride without facing a Farageist opponent.
Wow.
While no candidate for Tory leader is currently calling for a general election, the parliamentary deadlock that plagued Theresa May won't evaporate just because there is a new man in number 10.
So I want to explain that to the people. Okay, so if somebody has already got their seat and they're a Tory person, okay, they're not going to throw in a Brexit opponent against them. But in
Tory Brexiteers.
Excuse me, a Tory Brexiteer. But then likewise, if there is, we've got a Labour person.
Well, or if there's
then the Tory party's not going to throw
Tory person.
Right, and then they're not going to throw in, so it literally would come down to right against wrong. I guess that's the simplest way of saying it. But Brexit against no Brexit, you know what I mean? And I think that that's really neat. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
So the Sunday Times poll had Mr. Farage's Brexit party in first place with 24%, with Tories and Labour trailing at 21%. That would give such a huge majority in the government. It would be hard for anybody with any sense to pass it up.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be hard to pass up? So obviously they're not going to be talking out loud and telling everybody about these secret plans.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But this is a very interesting interview here with Nigel Farage on Sky News Australia, and they've already got him as PM Prime Minister.
You're kidding.
Yeah, listen to this.
Fantastic performance at CPAC last night. You did a stand-up panel with Peter Credlin, Mark Latham, Mark Meadows. It was absolutely riveting. Stand-up ovation. The thing here is it's a fascinating conundrum, Nigel, because the only thing that stands between you and the Prime Ministership of Britain is the thing you fought all your life to achieve, Brexit. Yeah. Brexit happens, you don't become PM necessarily. If Brexit doesn't happen, you do.
Helen, I spent 27 years campaigning for Brexit when it was a very unfashionable thing to do.
He just said, you win either way. You either Brexit or you become Prime Minister. Because if Brexit doesn't happen, the Brexit party surges in the polls, and then the party picks the PM, and the PM is Nigel Farage. We get to win-win, okay? So all of us are literally over here hoping that Brexit will happen. But
Oh
not
my
really.
gosh, I know,
don't want
I
it to
know.
happen. I want
know.
Nigel Farage as Prime Minister of the UK.
I know.
Please, God, if there's a God, this would be like Prime Minister Farage and President Donald Trump. I mean, can you imagine? The world will turn on its head. Godliness, even though he's not, he's Christian principles.
I know what you mean.
So, like, I'm just like, this is like the most epic of all epicnesses. Okay, going down through history, it would be a moment where the world would look and say, good things happened. We had good leaders at one time, right? And then Salvini and Viktor Orban will be safe.
Oh, yeah.
They'll all be safe.
Right.
And guess what? Other leaders will come up. And maybe with that pact and with the push of Christianity, maybe Germany will get freedom of speech. And maybe the Germans will become unbrainwashed because those people are so incredibly brainwashed. It's sad. They literally think they're helping the world by bringing in a bunch of single men of war age. Like, they literally think they're helping refugees. Like, seriously, I've talked to a German woman here. We need to help them. Like, brainwashed.
Okay, so Nom Nom says, oh God, the reaction from the snowflakes if Nigel became prime minister, too much of a headache for me. Brabaz says, Michelle, imagine Bojo and Farage as flatmates in number 10. That would be interesting.
Complete nutcase. I mean, I still am by some, but I was campaigning for something that wasn't even on the political agenda.
Yeah.
Right? I fought for it, gained ground, got David Cameron to promise a referendum that he never thought he'd have to deliver, and then never thought he could possibly lose. I promise you, Boris has taken my playbook. The European elections this year, I set up the Brexit Party. Within 6 weeks, we won this incredible victory. Boris has taken the playbook, word for word. I promise you, if he delivers a clean break Brexit on the 31st of October, I will be delighted because I will have won.
Absolutely.
And politics isn't all about getting titles, rank and
Exactly.
position.
Exactly.
Politics is about principle. It's about changing things. Provided my country becomes independent and free, that's what matters.
Now tell us the journey from Brexit, because you set up UKIP,
Yep.
and then you've set up the Brexit Party, huge
Yep.
success. If Brexit happens, I've always said I still think you will end up in Downing Street and you will be the one, because I don't think you can trust necessarily the Tories. Tell us your Brexit journey briefly from UKIP to Brexit and what's going to happen in these next few weeks.
I mean, UKIP was...
Nigel Farage, yeah.
I think what I've done, well, it's Sunday morning. I think what I've done, I've reset the agenda completely. Boris is saying all the right things, but remember, Theresa May said all the right things. The question here is,
100 how many
can
times?
we really
23.
trust Boris?
So this is going to be the...
27.
So that's the question. Do you trust Boris? Do you think that come October 31st, we'll be sitting here, whatever the Sunday is after that, and saying, woohoo, they've had the no-deal Brexit and they're out? Or will there be something where they've walked it back and it's conditional and the Irish backstop has gotten in the way and Bojo is saying, we just need more time or something like that?
Well, look, I mean, Boris, so Mrs. May did this new deal with Brussels, or a new treaty. It was, the worst deal in history. It was a shocker. The kind of thing that you'd only sign if you'd been beaten militarily in war and somebody had a gun to your head. It was awful. And Boris twice voted against it, because 3 times this came to the House of Commons. Twice Boris voted against it. He said, if we sign this, we become a slave state, a vassal state. And then the 3rd time of asking, he voted for it. So with Boris, you always think with Boris that it's a little bit more about his career advancement than it is about principle.
I have to tell you though, I watch these things and I kind of heard a lot of the same things. So I just watched the news responders because there's a whole nother dynamic here with Sky News Australia. Sky News is kind of the conservative twist, but not always.
Yeah.
But Australians are by and large conservative.
Yeah.
And they will kind of tell it like it is, and they're not ashamed. Like, I don't know what it is about Australians, but like, they don't have a lot of patience for the lefty snowflakies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I love Australians. Like, but they don't have guns either. They need their Second Amendment back. But, when it comes to the Islamification, when it comes to they're like, listen, we're not racist. But listen, we realize that this is not a good thing. this Islamification, right? And so it's interesting to see them. They're a little less politically correct in Australia.
Against
what
that,
I'm saying.
what Boris is being told by, and it'll be Linton Crosby and people, the Wizard of Oz, as we call him, and what he will be being told is, if you drop the ball again, Farage will kill you at the next general election. So that's the balance he's got to weigh up.
New Zealand took all the
My guess is that the only way he can deliver Brexit is to have an early general election on the issue and get a majority. That's my guess.
Do you do some kind of deal? Because we've seen the two recent by-elections. What's the...
Well, look, I mean, I think the truth of it is, whatever Boris says, there'll be millions of people that say, look, he's entertaining, he's great fun. We'd quite like a private life like his. That is pushing it for a Sunday morning. But do we trust him? And I think the truth of it is that the support the Brexit Party has got, the belief that a goodly number of people have in me, is such. I don't think he can win that election without my support. But to get my support, I'm going to have to believe in him. Genuinely believe in him, and in the Conservative Party, who've not been Conservative at all for years.
How would that work, though? Because there's no preferential voting in the UK.
No, that's right.
So are we going to get Jeremy Corbyn becoming Prime Minister because the Conservative vote's going to be split?
Well, what we saw in Peterborough, and that was a by-election immediately after the European elections, we saw the Labour Party get 31%, the Brexit Party get 30%, the Tory Party get 21%, and there's 51% of the vote between the two of us, and Corbyn wins on 31.
Yeah.
So, here's the logic, right? There are parts of the north of England, for argument's sake, that have sent back Labour MPs since the end of the First World War. And it's kind of tribal politics. They feel like Labour communities. Even though they're going to feel very betrayed by Corbyn and the Labour Party giving up on Brexit, they could not bring themselves to vote Conservative if you paid them £100,000. But they can vote for me. And so the argument would be,
Very true.
if Boris is absolutely sincere and wants to deliver Brexit above everything else, and doesn't mind upsetting some in the Conservative Party, who, don't forget, hate me. I mean, I am the devil. Which is just, it's always a good thing in life to be judged by your enemies, I think. The logic would be, he says, look, Nigel, there are, I don't know, 80, 90, 100, whatever it may be, Labour seats that voted Brexit, that have been betrayed by the Labour Party. You've got a free run at those. Leave me the rest of the country. And you know what? Even today's opinion polling puts the two of us together on 47%. And the Labour Party on 28%. Work it out.
For this to happen, the Tories have to be scared of you. Now, you've got a plan for 600 people?
Absolutely. So look, I mean, at the moment, what I'm doing is this. I announced last week my first 150 candidates and their constituencies, and I will be on the 27th of August holding a big rally in London, and I will stand on the stage, and there'll be 600 men and women around me, and I shall say, this is the People's Army. We are mobilised to fight the next general election. If you don't deliver Brexit, this is it, we're here. And so, I agree with you. The only way you get anything out of the British Conservative Party is by frightening the life out of them, by putting the fear of God into them. And I'm going to do that, you mark my words.
If you had this partnership with Bojo, would you have a position in any government? Would you be...
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, so I'm going to stop that there because it's so good. You guys watch the whole thing. But I did want to give you a taste of this. This is Richard Rice. The first 150 candidates have been announced.
The candidates and their constituencies for the Brexit Party for the general election that we know is coming soon. But we're not stopping there. Next week, we're going to have another 150 candidates and their constituencies. Why? Because whilst many people hopefully are enjoying their summer holidays, we in the Brexit Party, we are beavering away, we're working hard. This is absolutely vital. It's only the Brexit Party that can ensure a proper Brexit is delivered in the 31st of October. Why? Because we cannot trust the Conservative Party unless they have huge pressure from us. We're here to stay, we mean business, we're not messing around, we're here to change politics for good.
That's pretty exciting.
It is really, really exciting.
And then I have labor leave here, and this is, like, I think the The Labour Leave vote kind of hinges on Kate Huey here. If you don't know who she is a Brexiteer Labour Party person who has joined the Brexit Party.
I think the Labour Party needs to be very, very conscious of the fact that the Brexit Party is doing extremely well, not just in the European Union elections, where they went from just having been formed really a few weeks before to winning overall and having 29 MEPs. I think Labour needs to realise that many of our disillusioned Labour supporters now have somewhere to go to. You know, I remember over the years, and I've been the MP now for 30 years, I remember people saying at different times when Labour was doing things that were really not very sensible, like, for example, the raising of the pension by such a tiny amount. And I remember some of my colleagues actually saying, well, you know, we may be unpopular, but they've got nowhere else to go, Labour voters. That's no longer true. The Brexit Party bringing in people from different political backgrounds, you cannot, unless you're a complete and utter zealot Remainer, you cannot actually say that the Brexit Party is right-wing anymore. Yes, there are people in it who would have different views on the economic future of our country and the way to get to that future, but there are so many people who've joined it who are actually from the left, and they have MEPs from the left. So I think that we need to really realise that that is a huge battle that we're going to have, even if Boris Johnson manages to get us out of the European Union at the end of October. I don't think the Brexit Party will go away because they have discovered that there are people out there who are fed up with having been treated as if they weren't important, that their areas have been ignored and left, and that neither of the mainstream parties have been picking up on that nearly enough.
So Jim West says, Kate Huey is great. She's wasted on Labour. Britt Baza says, Kate Huey is a great patriot and an MP. And I liked what she said there, is that unless you're a zealot Remainer, you are no longer going to be able to say that the Brexit Party is right-wing.
Right.
It's
exactly.
all about Brexit. And going back to that clip with Nigel, you know, I get comments a lot of times from you guys that used to support Nigel, and because he didn't stand up for Tommy and he said some things against Tommy, you're like, Nigel's a traitor. He said, no, because a traitor is to turn your back on something that you were formerly standing for. Nigel has always been about Brexit, 100% for Brexit. He has not become a traitor to Brexit. Even if you're like staunch UKIP and you feel like he turned his back on UKIP or whatever, he didn't. He has been staying 100% towards Brexit. You have to understand that people come in and they mess things up. You're going to have crazies all the time. Take a church, for example, okay? They always say, if you find a perfect church, don't go there because you'll mess it up, okay? So when you have a party, it's very difficult to have you know, perfect everyone within that party. And so Nigel had to distance himself from UKIP because UKIP was allowing certain people in and so on and so forth. But that doesn't mean that he has turned his back on Brexit just because he doesn't agree with Tommy, and we do. You know, I don't actually agree with everything that Tommy does. I just agree with his right to do it.
Attacked by a wild boar.
Yeah, that's awful. Yeah.
Not really wild, but
Pikes Peak says, my mom showed us how to butcher a chicken. You have an excellent mother. That's a mother's duty, I think. Yes, or a father's duty. All right, you guys, we love you.
God loves you.
God bless. Remember, it's not just a conspiracy theory if it's actually the truth. Like, comment, and subscribe to Masfaith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring the bell for notifications. Find us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. We love you. God loves you. God bless. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Rest, get in the Word, and we will see you back as soon as possible. Bye, guys.
I was cold all alone. Your place